Not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of jobs remains unfilled. Yes, millions of jobs in the renewable energy business. It means that you could get a job, you're just not aware of it. The global clean energy business is expanding faster than ever, but we still have many vacancies that are not filled. And we also have skills that are mismatched. What are the consequences? So one of the major consequences is the fact that projects are getting delayed. So what I want to do today is to look at one of the biggest hidden roadblocks in the energy transition. I name the skill gap. Stay with me, guys. Hey, how you doing? My name is Tony. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa. What we do is very simple. We raise awareness about renewable energy and sustainability. If you're interested to expand into Africa, we are your eco bridge to this market, and we can help you with three things: the visibility, the leads, and the deals. Or if you say, I want to look at decarbonizing, we again at your eco bridge to sustainable pathway, and we can help you with carbon footprint assessment, carbon reduction strategy. And so check out AfroCab, which is our marketplace to sell African carbon credits. So reach out to us. I'm more than happy to talk to you about that. So I was talking about the fact that there are millions of jobs that remain unfilled. Absolutely. So if we're looking at the global energy business, yeah, jobs in renewables are growing very fast. So let me show you a couple of slides, just sort of depict to you what the situation is currently at. So what we've seen over the last decade is the fact that we've grown from 7 million all the way to almost 13 million. So we double. In fact, it's a matter of 10 years, and you could see how those jobs are actually split. Clearly, solar dominate that we could see, followed by bioenergy. So we'll be surprised. Like, we would think that maybe it should have been wind. No, it's bioenergy first, then the wind industry. So you can see that. So we're going from 7 million jobs all the way to almost 13 million. But that's actually was in 2021. But if we look at how does it actually look at when we look at the split in between jobs, so definitely solar dominates big and far, right? So you could see that. So according to this slide, that was back in 2021, we had 4 million people working in solar, then biofuel about 2 million, hydro 2.3 million, and then the wind. It gives you an idea how the industry is really evolving. But actually, even better, nowadays, if you're looking at the recent figure, we know that more than 16 million people work in the renewable energy space. And how is it split? You can see that now. So we have more than 7 million in solar photovoltaic. Then we have 2.8, almost 3 million in bioenergy. So 2.3 million in hydropower, and only 1.4 million in wind energy globally. That's not huge, right? So it gives you a perspective. And bear in mind, we are a world of 8 billion people nowadays. It is only 1.5 million, working in wind energy, and altogether 60 million renewables energy. So there's a lot of scope that needs to come, right? So, and this is the kind of information that you need to have to understand that definitely when we're talking about the sector, clearly there is a lot of scope that one could be talking about. Because despite that growth, what we're seeing is major shortages in terms of the right talent in the right place at the right time. So, the study found that, there's clearly a gap of about 7 million green energy workers by 2030. That's what we could get. And if we get in that figure, hopefully we can avert it, but that will actually delay the climate progress and also raise temperature by zero point 0.1 degrees Celsius. So that's what a very, let's say, a reputable company like a Boston Consulting Group has been saying. So you could be telling me, Tony, but what we see here, those are numbers. No, it is not just numbers. Number alone, it's never going to tell you the full story. That's what you need to understand. It's never going to tell you the full story. It's about skills. It's about geography. It's about timing, and it's about visibility. Let me explain that. In Germany, for example, you have green energy related job. They more than doubled between 2019 and 2024. Yet half of the job ads could still find applicants that are missing. Yeah. And that's actually has accelerated in Germany. Why? Because in between, we know that not only we've had COVID, but we also have the war in Ukraine. And obviously, with the country making the switch, stopping the gas supply from Russia, they're focusing more into renewables, right? Clearly, that needs a lot of people to come into the sector. You could see how things going very, very fast. Yeah. And it's not just Europe, it's not just Germany that's experiencing this issue when we're talking about the lack of the right candidates, the right skill for the sector. In India, for example, the clean energy manufacturing push, it's been held back by training shortfall, right? And where we have demand that exists, the path for from candidate to hire, it's broken. It's not that easy. So this is the issue that we're saying. They're probably going to ask the question. So how can we solve it? Clearly, it means that we need to hire more. Not only we need to train people more, yeah, train them better, but also have a better hiring system. Now, what is the issue with the current hiring system, right? So the traditional hiring system, how does it work? For decades, we have relied, or more specifically, recruitment company, they've relied on CVs, they've relied on resume submission, and also on long hiring cycle. But in a sector, moving at speed of the energy transition, that model could be too slow. It also could be too narrow. And if we obviously refer to several industry reports that have reported this problem, so the talent gap, it's less about the lack of people. It's more about how do we find them. And I know what I'm talking about, right? There's a lot of people in places where we will not obviously guessed we find candidate where you go and find it. So if you know just how to look at that, yeah. So how could you find them? That's a problem. So how could you verify them? That's another. And how do you mobilize them? So those are the three that you bring into the place. So it's not just a question of, like I say, making sure that you bring candidates. So you want to find, verify, and mobilize them. And when project must ramp up very quickly, so every week of a delay has a cost and impact. And I know what I'm talking about because I'm working, for example, with Alfonso for AFF Wind, and that's what he's been telling me. At times, he'd go and speak to one of a prospect or a client. They would say, "Hey, listen, Alfonso. So we have this project, so opening up in a couple of weeks, and we want you to be obviously supporting us there. So can you supply a team of 5 people, by next Wednesday, meaning in 3 days' time?" Obviously, it's very difficult, right? When you get things like that. So that's the kind of issue that they're having. So how would they find the time, obviously, to first of all find the right candidate, verify them, but also make sure that they can mobilize them? That's the kind of issue that people are going through. So that's why we need to rethink the system. So if we need to support the industry, right? So that's important. So that's why clearly what you see here, it's a new approach that is needed. So where we have live, real candidate that can come in, will have some visibility. If you can imagine, so renewable energy professional that could have verified credential, so digital profile, searchable and match instantly skills with project needs, not having to wait weeks, a month for a job board ad, right? So a skill-based hiring model, that's what we should think about. And it's emerging where formal degrees matter less than the right verified candidate, right verified capacity. That's what we need. And for organization and professional alike, so this opportunity clearly is very, very so interesting. So as I talk about that, so what would it mean for the industry? Or more specifically, so what could it mean for professional in HR, and also candidate? So if you are a professional, yeah, it means you become visible. It means that you keep your skill current and you have a profile that speak to real project that you've worked on. And if you're HR or maybe hiring manager, it means that you're shifting from stale candidate pool to active talent network. And that sort of help you to break long cycle to something that could be near instant matches, right? That would be good, right? Excellent. Absolutely. So what could be the value there? The value is obviously me. So if you're doing this way, so what you have here, it's a faster deployment, but you also have better retention and also more efficient project. And guess what? your client will be very, very happy to have such a system working. So I know that when we're looking at a few places where we can see example in the European market, so vacancy rate for core green jobs, they have doubled between 2020 and 2023 because demand is surging. And for the reason I mentioned to you, not only we had the COVID crisis, but also the Ukraine crisis, right? That sort of has accelerated. That means clearly we need people that can operate there because all those projects are speeding up and they need to be built now as opposed to later. And if you talk about building that, so you want to have obviously the labor workforce that could do it, the right supply chain. And I know a global firm, Samaria Band, they noted that 74% of renewable professionals saying that training investment are critical to meet this gap. Yeah. And in the context of projects talking about or involving wind, solar storage, so those delay could increasingly be, I mean, the delay in finding the right candidate and the right match could be also attributed to staffing, not just component, right? So that sort of underscore the urgency. And as I was talking about projects that are speeding up, I just want to show you as well another very quick graph that shows that what's coming up ahead. Yeah, it gives you an idea of what we have here. So what I'm sharing here it's the offshore wind turbine size forecast, the number of turbines that will be built. And you can see there is a different color code there. So looking at the legend in here, you would see. So you can see the size of those wind turbine. It goes, from 4 megawatt all the way to above 16 megawatt. And you could see we're only here in 2025. Look at the world is coming. So that means huge, massive pipeline coming. But I tell you one thing, yeah. I tell you one thing. So you won't be able to build such a pipeline if you don't have the right candidate, the right skill in place, the right people to do that. So that's a very serious problem. That's what I'm telling you. So you can have the money, you can have the pipeline, the project, you can have everything sorted, but if you don't have the right people to build it for you or to make it happen for you, guess what? It won't go very far. And this is actually what is slowing many projects out there. That's what I wanted to talk to you about that, right? Very important. So, and it's such an important problem that some people have to look at it, right? And we decided to host a webinar. So talking about the future of hiring, which is called obviously Goodbye CV, but also Hello Life Profile. And we'll be doing that with our partners called Beehive Life. So because they put together a system that is very interesting. So what we do is going to be looking at deeper into how their model works, showcasing the tool, but also a couple of examples that could help you to prepare what hiring or being hired could look like for you. Not now, but not just tomorrow. And that's why I want to strongly invite you to do that. So what I would do, I definitely will drop the link of this of the webinar, so the registration link, in the comments. And what I'd like to do, make sure that you attend that. It's going to be Wednesday, the 22nd of October. It's going to be at 11 o'clock BST time, GMT +1. I want you to come and attend that. You could see how can we solve this problem that I've mentioned to you about, right? So thank you for the time. I hope that you are inspired to think differently about how talent and project can come and connect in Renewable. See you at the webinar and have a beautiful day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.